There's a lot going on in the screen, or about to. I'm going was trying to demonstrate Quicken Export to QIF and JPC Ledger Import from the same. So I set up an empty file, but I found out I couldn't create a blank account. In this case, translates to a bank account or credit card account. This is the kind of stuff that led me to create my program. So I had to switch back to my actual data. Yeah, I'm not making this up. This is what I had to do every day since the subscription expired, and was the inspiration for me to make the replacement. So there's a file export option to QIF. And I usually do it to desktop. And I say free data 4. Transactions, account lists, category lists. Those are the ones you need. I don't process these two. Got it set to export all accounts from the earliest date to an impossibly late date. And the exports are pretty quick. That's not showing anything, but when I hit refresh, it'll show it. And I have to blur out all this, which is what I was trying to avoid. But this count column is new. I added that as part of the latest iteration 0.9.9. And open that. One of the first things you might see that wasn't there before was the today row and the zero balance row. And this one actually has a redundant one because there's a particular reason why I did that. But I wanted to demonstrate the report. Automatically defaults to the first of the year to the last day of the year. And it's done. Now if I click on this, I set it to automatically open here. And voila. Resuming. I'm going to download first copy. I wanted to demonstrate the next part without having to deal with so whether you start up a new one or whatever, it will automatically generate or update today and zero balance. And when you first see it, it may not make any sense, which is why I'm trying to take the time to explain it. So today is kind of self-explanatory. It's really a marker that I put in. It will automatically, if you click on refresh and it doesn't happen to be today, it will refresh as today. The amount should always be set to 0 to make sure it doesn't affect the balance unless you have some kind of reason. I have a feeling I put in code to prevent that. Zero balance is a little bit different. As you can see, it ends with 350. So usually what I do is I manually offset that. The idea being this is where you enter a value that sets it to 0. And well, what's the value in that? You make some changes or whatever, and then all of a sudden you see it's not 0. And this is what's supposed to make this 0, and this is under your control. So when you see it's not 0, you can figure out something that's not quite right. That's how I've been using a manually created version in Quicken. And I found it useful. Sometimes Quicken would do wacky things or whatever, and I would make a mistake. And this would let me know that there were changes made, and if I can't account for it, then I investigate. Now, one of the new features that doesn't show here is actually under here. I moved some stuff to this particular submenu. Obscure is now an F10 activated one. Reports is F11. Copy plus month F12. Now, copy plus month is pretty much what it says. If you notice, I had selected 315 and added 1 month to it. And I guess another example that might be more useful to add is okay, so what if I do that to this one, F12? If you notice, it's not exactly 1 full month. It's because if I try to make 431, it's not a valid date. So it's going to back off from that. At this point, I have future scheduled entries, which I could theoretically generate off of the current month. And this is my answer to scheduled entries, where you might create items that might recur. I've always had a problem with the Quicken version of it, where you can have it set to the first month or every Sunday, Saturday, whatever. And I was never quite satisfied, and honestly, I'm still not satisfied. I'm kind of working that through. But this does the equivalent for me. if I have known entries that I need to repeat, I can use F12 now to create a matching entry. I might add in logic to automatically determine that it always happens on a Sunday or whatever. Like you might be always paid on a Friday, things like that. I might then automatically adjust the dates, but it's not really a big deal to adjust the dates, And this concludes this episode, which I'm going to have to remember to blur.